Hello, Riven mains and Yasuo mains and League of Legends players alike. I am the Nightwing, and I'm coming at you guys with a LEC Week 9 Day 1 2 Power Ranking Predictions. So this is the final week of the LEC Spring Split 2019. It has been a blast. It only feels like it just started just yesterday when we started the channel, doing League of Legends news content, gaining subscribers for this channel, and doing what I love, which is making YouTube videos. So thanks to everybody who's watched this far. You guys mean so much. Make sure you like the video. It means a lot. It gets the channel videos more seen on YouTube. Please like the video. It means a lot. So going into the LEC this week, I'm going to be going over the power rankings, and then I'm going to be going over the matches, because the power rankings is how I think the standings will pan out after this week is over. That means after day 2, and that means it's done. So let's go to the power rankings first, and then I'll go over the matches. So let me slide this screen over for you guys so you guys can see it more appropriately, and let's go. All right, so some of you are probably thinking, like, what in the world is going on with your power rankings? Why is Splice all the way at 5th? You know, I thought about this long and hard, but I think that Splice aren't as good as what they are actually showing, and I think that's going to be a big factor in as the reason why I put them at 5th place. I don't think they're that strong of a team. I think that they normally still only play to like the late game standard. Even when they play early game, it doesn't look convincing, and I think their 2nd place is only because other teams are not actually doing anything to stop them. I think it's more of a case of everybody else is being bad rather than being good. You have players like Kabe, who's actually pretty good. Norse Garen's pretty good. Xerxes, pretty good. Humanoid is okay. But I think that the team itself is not bad, but they are not as... I'm just going to say they're overrated. They just don't look like that team to me, you know. They're not like the teams I put above them, and they're not like the teams below them. They're just in their own league of these are some okay players. They do what they need to do, and I don't think the standings show a clear indication of how actually strong they are. Yes, they did beat G2, but you have to factor in, what about the last time they played G2? They got like absolutely manhandled. I mean, a lot of people are going to say, yeah, they beat them recently, but what about the time before that when they got absolutely destroyed? It's only been, like, I have watched Splice for ever since they came into the EULCS, and they've played the exact same way, and it was only just like this year I even seen them starting to play early game proactive, not stalling till late game, let Kabi get like 6 items. I don't like, and like I said before, I don't think the standings are showing that. The standings are basically showing them a 2nd place, and they're not the 2nd place team, not in my opinion. That's why they're at 5th place, but they're still making playoffs. So let's talk about teams that aren't making playoffs, in my own personal opinion. So this is the last week these teams are not making playoffs. So we know that Rogue and Excel aren't. They put back in Wadid and Prophet. Wadid and Prophet are probably not going to play next split, given the fact that they had so many issues with this team. They're talking about bringing in Larson, some other players, and it's just... They know the split's over, so you might as well just play Wadid and Prophet again, because it doesn't matter anyway. So then you have Excel. Excel played a new support. I can't remember his name right now. It's just not in my head right now. But the team looks interesting, to say the least. Like, they look better than Rogue by what I've seen out of them, but it's still not anything good. It's just like those late split player changes kind of mess them up in a good and bad way, because like I felt like if they had probably started with this roster over the one that they actually did start, they probably would be a little bit higher in the standings, and that's kind of sad considering the fact that I've kind of liked their last games out of them. So I feel bad for Excel. I feel like just having this roster would have made things a lot better. And then you go over Misfits. Now people are going to be like, well, why is Misfits in like 8th place? Because Misfits have their hands not in their own fate, as they like to call it, because Misfits need to go 2-0 to even have a chance of making playoffs. Then, for them to even make playoffs, guess what has to happen? Fnatic have to lose both games. Fnatic also play against G2. So that means that your destiny is not in your own hands. And to be fair, Misfits don't even really deserve to make playoffs. Like, they would be a clear-cut free win for any team if they made it in the playoffs. So I wouldn't want to see that as a viewer. I don't want to see a team going in there based off of other teams basically underperforming for them to get in there anyway. Then I would see a bad team, right now they're a bad team, go in and just be a free win. That team that does beat Misfits gets lucky and gets a free pass without really learning anything, and then you don't even get a meaningful playoff scenario with the certain teams moving forward. So I think it's better right now if Misfits just don't make playoffs. I think it's just better for them. They would just be a laughingstock going in. Yes, their players on the roster can do good in best of fives, but right now they're not doing good. And yes, it's best of ones, but you gotta take it. You gotta take it for what it is. They're not playing good right now. Did you see that Baron call? If you saw that Baron call, you would agree with me. All right, Schalke. I think Schalke is. Hold on. I have this girl that just messaged me. I'll call you later. Haha, girls. I'll call you later. I'll call you at 7:30. Okay, so Schalke were on a 7-game losing streak. They were like the second best team. I almost put them in my LOL West power rankings at one point because they were playing great. I just think that if Schalke can show any sign of consistency again, just the way they showed the first part of the split, I would definitely put them in the playoff race. But they have to win every game this week, not counting tiebreakers. And I think that it's something that I don't think they really, really will put up a good fight in playoffs anyway. I think looking at the teams that you're seeing from 6-1 are the teams that you're probably going to be seeing in playoffs. Now, if Schalke make it in, I would rather Schalke make it in over Splice, in my own personal opinion, because I don't want to see a best of 5 where every game goes to 40 minutes. That would not be fun. But you know, right now, from looking at the way Splice has played pretty consistent to how bad Schalke's played, I'm gonna have to put Splice above them. And with that being said, Schalke, fun fact, Upset is the only player in EULCS history to get a pentakill and lose the game. Ain't that something? And then you have SK Gaming. I mean, they're just wildly inconsistent. Blech. I have to get words out of my mouth. They're just wildly inconsistent, but they are a clear cut above XL, Schalke, Misfits, and Rogue right now. So that's good enough to get them into playoffs. They are probably going to be a dark horse going into the playoffs. A lot of teams are probably going to severely disrespect them, and then they'll probably just end up losing and dropping games to those other teams, because those other teams are going to go and, okay, SK is going to be just a free win. They're going to come in with a clear-cut game plan and beat that team, and people are going to be like, how did SK Gaming win? It's unfathomable. Probably because you underestimated them, because they're competitive League of Legends players just like you, and they're coming in with a game plan. And I think a lot of players will be quick to undermine them actually going in, and I think they have a good chance of doing making some noise in the playoffs, only if they can just keep up this. They gotta get their consistency up. That's what they need to do. And if you look at the top 4, someone's gonna be like, well, why is Fnatic above Vitality? Fnatic, in my own personal opinion, have the Cloud9 syndrome of summer 2018. They have been on fire. They have been playing absolutely incredible. Hellsang, Reckless, Nemesis, Broxa, Bwipo, they're all been playing good. The only player that I can say has been kind of lackluster is still been Bwipo. But then you look at his game this past last week against Misfits, in which he clapped Soaz. Do keep in mind, Soaz clapped him too when Misfits played Fnatic, when Fnatic were kind of slumping. So do take that with a grain of salt. Now, they have been playing incredible, playing around objectives. Young Buck is giving them the drafts that favor Fnatic. I like the early game I'm seeing out of them. I'm just liking everything I'm seeing out of them. They are the hottest team, as they called Cloud9 last summer. Fnatic are the hottest team in the EULCS LEC right now. They're the second best team. Vitality gets put down because not only did they lose to G2, there have been some sort of throw. I really do like them. I think that they're a good team. I had them 4th in my power rankings coming into the split. I think they're definitely a top 3 team. There's a little bit of inconsistencies that happen with them. Like, theoretically, they should have beaten G2. and they throw at certain points. Their objective control is not as clean as G2 or Fnatic, so do keep that in mind as well. Now G2 are locked in first by having their last win against Vitality as well, and from recency, Fnatic is going to be above Vitality. Origin have been playing very creepingly, they just like kept creeping up in the standings, just like moving up. No one's really paying attention to them. It was that win they got against up against G2 that really did show people that this can be a contender. I still think in a best of 5 scenario, they are going to get destroyed. They, as a team, just don't have enough star players in order to sufficiently carry roles. And in a way that's like, you know, their 2 best players are their mid and their jungler, and that's only going to get you so far in a best of 5 because other teams can play around top, they can play around bot. It just really does honestly depend on what happens. But I think in playoffs, I don't think they're going to be that good, but that's just what I see right now. So that's how the standings are panning in, and the last team I'll talk about is G2. G2 are most likely going to be playing Promise Q. The legendary EULCS support Promise Q is going to be joining G2. So there's no reason why they shouldn't be anything below first, right? Because Promise Q is literally better than Mata. So yeah. All right. So let's go to the matches right now. So the first week I have Misfits playing up against Splice. I don't think Splice are as good as what the standings have been saying. I'm gonna say Splice win. SK Gaming, I'm saying gonna beat Rogue. Fnatic against G2, El Clasico. Heck yeah, man. Oh, I love Fnatic versus G2. I called G2 beating Fnatic this time around. I wouldn't be surprised if Fnatic did beat G2. This is gonna be a really good match. This is gonna be a really good match. What is it gonna be on? This is gonna be on the 15th. That's going to be a really good match. This is the match of the week right there. You need to tune in for that game. I'm going to say G2 win. I think that I'm favoring what they're doing in the late game versus Fnatic. If you look at the games that Fnatic were about to lose, their late game didn't look as good. Then you also have to realize that the other teams that did let them win late game through Vitality. So it's something that you got to kind of take with a grain of salt. Caps is probably the single most valuable player in the LEC right now. You also have Jankos and Wonder. Jankos had a bit of an off game last week. He said he's going to do better. He's had like one bad game in like the last 9 weeks. Take that with a grain of salt. It's not that bad. Wonder showed that he can come back from a deficit. Their coach Grab said a lot of people have said that they can't play macro or late game. Well, he gave them a bunch of losing lanes, and then they won a late game. So that's something. Vitality versus Excel. Vitality is going to clap Excel. And Origin versus Schalke. Schalke need to win 2-0 in order to actually even make any playoff noise. Then not counting tiebreakers as well. I think Origin is going to win this one handily. And I think Misfits, they face G2 day 2, and then I think G2 are going to win that. Schalke versus Rogue. Schalke will get a win there. Then you have SK versus Team Vitality. I think Team Vitality will get that. Excel versus Origin. I think Origin gets that. And then Splice versus Fnatic. Now, G2, I think even if they sub in Promise Q, they probably should do that this week, getting him some stage practice, because, I mean, he's so good that he probably doesn't even need stage practice. Like, what am I saying? Promise Q is so good, he doesn't even need stage practice. They're going to win against Misfits. Now, Schalke need to go into this Rogue game and play clean. What I mean by that is they need to go in and be like, okay, we need to show teams around us that we can play macro, we can play controlled, we can play early game and not fall apart. Vitality need to go into SK Gaming's game and go like, okay, they kind of play our style, we can play it better. And I think that Vitality need to find some sort of consistency in this last week. They play SK and Excel, so they're probably easily going 2-0. By just the standings alone, they're probably going to finish second anyway. And then Excel and Origin is going to have a free game right there. And Fnatic versus Splice. If Splice get to late game, I would like to see if they are able to beat Fnatic. I don't think that they are, so yep, Fnatic are going to be beating Splice. So yeah, that is my I don't know who JTH is picking, but that is our sorry, I can't talk. Our LEC Week 9 power ranking predictions and Day 1 and Day 2 predictions. So it has been such a nice ride having you guys around for the split for LEC. we're gonna be around for a long time. I'm just still gonna be here. I got NA to do. I have LCK to do, and that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe. Most of all, enjoy. Inside for Nerds signing out. I'm the Nightwing. See you guys later. Watch LEC. We got the Kings of Europe clashing, and who is gonna be making playoffs? Who's the better team, G2 or Fnatic? Hashtag G2 Army. I can't wait to get the G2 jersey. See you guys later. Bye. Have a good day. Like the video. It means so much.